G'day everyone, Jason Nunn, Fisherman's Warehouse, Tuckerwad Marks Point, with this Friday's fishing report. And typical of a Friday lately is it is absolutely howling. It's blowing around about 35 knots out of the northwest. Quite warm, and look, we're going to get a southerly change in the wee hours of the morning. Probably going to swing south-southeast around 20 knots, a little bit of increase in swell. Look, it's a little bit of a shame. We started to see some very good signs offshore last weekend. There were those vessels that went out to the shelf. We've got some really good reports, some striped marlin around up off the bay. There was a few blue marlin lost as well. I only heard of an albacore. Unfortunately, there was no yellowfin, but again, that will happen over the next few weeks when we get a few more vessels out. There were a couple of very big sharks caught, one in particular, quite a large tiger shark, over 300 as well. Plenty of bait fish out there, which was incredibly encouraging. So out wide this weekend would have been perfect. You may get out there Sunday as that wind abates a little bit, but it's just a shame. Even on our inshore reefs, again this week I got reports, a few trag now starting to get along the coast. They're not big trag, but they're still there. Some reds. Things are really improving on this inshore scene. Temperature now a bit over 18 degrees along the coast, which is fantastic. And of course, on the shelf, water temperatures up to around about 23 degrees. We're starting to see that change of season on the shelf and in our offshore, but it's going to just be difficult tomorrow. As I say, Sunday, probably the better of the days, but just please take caution. Along the beaches, real improvement with the whiting fishing and quite a few brim now as well, and the odd flathead. The salmon tail are now pretty much gone, but look, again, you can get up there and have a bit of a track on and see if you can get a few mulloway after dark. But I think the tip is definitely whiting along our coastal beaches and right throughout Lake Macquarie and right into Newcastle. All of our beaches fishing very, very well for whiting. If you're going to go off the rocks, Drummer and Ludrick still with a few trevally, but I am seeing a little bit more and getting some more reports of a few snapper off our coastal rocks. So that's another thing that a lot of guys forget about. Areas such as Redhead and Dudley, no doubt in towards town, and Waibung, Catherine Bay in particular, Pinnies, all fish very well for snapper. So there are some tips there if you want to get onto the rocks, but again, a little bit of spike and swell tomorrow. Rock fishing, you just need to be careful. The real emphasis this weekend has got to be the Prawn Run. And this basically kicked off last night. I had a bit of a look. There were a couple of boats out, but the tide did change around about 5:30, so it was a little bit early, but still, things are looking encouraging. Reports we're getting along the coast, particularly Mile Lakes, and no doubt next week out of the Hunter when the river opens up, Hawkesbury and Tuggerah, there's been an abundance of prawns in all of these river and lake systems at the present moment, which is fantastic. I think this bit of a southerly we're going to get tomorrow, Saturday night into Sunday, is really going to set it right up for the lake. I think we'll expect big things. Tonight, if you're going to get out there, and this wind will start to abate a little bit after dark, we hope. Look, I would get there just on dark, but each night, Saturday night in particular on dark, and Sunday night, which is perfect because it's 10 nights after the full moon, just get there right on dark and you'll be right on the cusp of the change. It'll flow into next week, and next week's winds, a lot of east nor'east for about 4 or 5 days next week as well. So I think you just got to get out there and had a bit of a crack. A few crabs around, and of course a lot of guys showing a lot of interest in the new crab pots. Again, that whole thing's been thrown on its head with you're unable to use those enclosed types of traps. Squid, as a few of the boys last Friday found out, squid very difficult right up on that full moon, but they will start to pick up on this prawn run. And the other thing around it is at the moment there's quite a few kingies around, and of course the channel bridge gets very busy, but the channel and some really nice kings getting caught in the lake. And another little thing that's happening, we've really seen an increase in quite reasonable sized reds coming out of the lake. There was another fish this week caught 52 centimetres. There was 2 fish last week caught, one was 60, one was 50. You're not going to get these reds in numbers in our estuary and particularly in the lake, but look, they are there and they're a real bonus to the catch. Flathead have been a little bit out of sorts, but again, look, this prawn run's going to gee him up into a bit of gear. This week's ZEREK Fish of the Week winner is young Wayne Flanagan. And Wayne is one of those guys that gets out there and fishes very hard for his fish and releases around about 90% of all the fish that he basically catches. Only keeps those fish around about 50, enough for a bit of a meal. And again, trolls and uses vibes. He's been one of those other very consistent entrants that I keep talking about that every week sends in a photograph. So remember, guys, when you're out there, just get a photograph. It doesn't have to be the biggest fish you've ever caught. any fish, a squid, a crab, I'm not fussy. Just get it in on our Fisherman's Warehouse Facebook page, and let's get these entries coming. And remember, next week is our major draw. So congratulations, Wayne. Come on down to the store and pick a couple of those ZEREK fish traps out. We'll see you next week.